Hello and welcome to the final part of my Xbox 360 collection. First of all, we have Dishonored, which I don't know. I feel it's a little bit disappointing for me, but I myself have only played couple of hours of the game. But yeah, for me, visually it looks great. There's a lot of different ways to take people out. Again, like Deus Ex, be it killing everyone or being stealthy. But the problem being with this game is that the stealth isn't that great, in my opinion. But again, maybe I'm just playing early on, trying to get used to the whole game mechanics of Dishonored. But yeah, I'm hoping it'll pick up eventually. So yeah. Next up, we have Saints Row the Third. Very very good game. Not quite as fun as Saints Row 2, but that's only because like playing co-op, you've sort of been there before, but graphically and certainly engine wise is far better than the second game, and yeah, it's still fun. I definitely recommend picking it up. Next up, we have Dead Space. Very good survival horror. Freaked me out anyway. It's one of the first survival horror games I sort of took seriously and really sort of went out of my way to complete. And yeah, really enjoyed it. And also, I have the sequel, Dead Space 2. Gameplay wise, a little bit better. Graphically, a little bit better, and like more set pieces and stuff like that. But unfortunately, not quite as scary as the original. And they put some like tact on multiplayer, which was fun for a little bit, but after a while, it just got kind of boring, and you wanted to play a different multiplayer game. Next up, we have one of my favourites when first playing on my Xbox, and that's Gears of War. Fantastic series in general, really. This one, for me, still has the best multiplayer. And it almost feels like virtual chess with chainsaws and guns and shit. But yeah, solid story, solid multiplayer. The only complaint is that the animations feel a bit dated now, but they did certainly improve on those in the later iterations. Next up is Gears of War 2. Not quite. I mean, the campaign was technically better than the first game, but there were certain sequences, particularly Act 4, that went on for far too long and kind of dragged the story a little bit. But and that and the multiplayer was very disappointing compared to the first one. I don't know why, but it just maybe it was they sort of Epic moved to dedicated servers and didn't quite work out. And but at least they did rectify that with Gears of War 3. I think the multiplayer on this one in particular is fantastic as well. My only gripe is the sawed-off shotgun, which requires absolutely no skill. I don't care what you say. I'm a talk-bow man, so I know what skill requires in this series. So yeah, the campaign again great. There were one or two plot holes, but besides that, it was again very good, and I'd recommend this series to anyone who's picking up a 360. But yeah, the Horde modes, they improved from the second game. They kind of gave it an identity, and the tower defense elements certainly fitted that game mode. And also Beast Mode as well is one of my favourite multiplayer modes probably ever. It's just like so addictive. And you gotta love playing as the enemies, you know, taking out the heroes. So that's the bastard in me talking. Next up we have Batman Arkham Asylum. Fantastic game. Kind of came out of nowhere really, because no one expected it to be that great, you know, because majority of superhero titles aren't. But yeah, this pretty much set the benchmark for a lot of games now, like superhero games. But yeah, I prefer this Arkham City because it's got a more focused story, and I prefer like the linear sort of design of the game more than the sort of open world of Arkham City. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But you know, my only gripe is the bosses are too similar and they're sort of very predictable. It's the same thing you have to do with one or two tweaks over and over again. But other than that, fantastic game. Batman Arkham City is next. As I said, more open world, and the one plus point is they did put in a lot of characters, but in the negative of that is that it almost felt they sort of put characters in just for the hell of it. But if you are a Batman fan, this is excellent fan service. So, and if you know, I mean, I'm not a huge Batman fan, but the game itself is just it's almost perfect. That's how great it is. Next up we have Hitman Absolution. I got into this series fairly late. I tried getting into Hitman 2 and Contracts, and I don't know, it just never really sat well with me. But then a few years ago I tried Blood Money on the 360 and absolutely loved it. This, in my personal opinion, isn't as great on a sort of gameplay level. On a technical level it is great, but I prefer the sort of more freedom of Blood Money, where you can properly explore the levels and do it pretty much sort of take it as stealthily as you want in the different like kind of ways. You can do that in here, but I hate I'm not liking the instinct mode personally, where you sort of hold a button down just to sort of detract like attention, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But other than that, it's really well polished, really fun game, and I recommend it. It's one of my favourite games of the year at least. Next up we have Bayonetta, another game developed by Platinum Games. I also have Vanquish on my PS3. Yeah, fantastic action game. Probably one of the best. I'd probably say Devil May Cry 3 is better, but this is a very close second. And yeah, it's a very sort of fun action game that doesn't take itself too seriously. I don't mind that sometimes. I think a lot of games take itself too seriously. Next up we have Alan Wake. Really, really enjoyed this one. It's from Remedy, who also made the first two Max Payne games. And yeah, it's a pretty good survival horror. It's not what I wouldn't say it's really scary, but the actual story itself and the graphics and particularly the music is absolutely outstanding. And if you haven't played it, I'd definitely recommend it. And the DLC is fairly cheap, and there's two DLCs for this, and they're both really good. And they're only, I think, around 560 Microsoft points, so they're worth checking out as well after you finish the main game. Next up we have Condemned, and this was a 360 launch title, and it still holds up pretty well today. I mean, it has dated graphically quite a bit, but in terms of gameplay and in terms of immersion, it's sort of yeah, it still holds up pretty decent. And yeah, you can get this for quite cheap now, and I highly recommend it. Next up, we have Pure, which is from, I believe it's, yeah, Blackrock Studios, who are sadly no longer with us, which is a pity. As this was a very good ATV. It was sort of like any of the ATV games crossed with like SSX, where you sort of drive around and do like loads of tricks, and you have like the sort of big moves, like the sort of big tricky moves that you get in games like SSX, Tricky and Free and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty fun. Very good in multiplayer as well. Highly enjoyable. And last, but by no means least, probably one of the best bargains you will ever pick up, and that is the Orange Box. Now this features Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Team Fortress 2 and Portal. 5 pretty damn good games. I'd probably say Team Fortress 2 is probably the weakest link here, because not many people play it online much anymore, and it does get sort of laggy. You get the odd couple of glitches here and there, and but it is still fun when you can find like a decent game. Portal, is a fantastic puzzle adventure. Very sort of unique story that I never thought would ever get a sequel until it did last year, which was also fantastic. And yeah, the Half-Life series, which pretty much one of those sort of genre-defining games. Yeah, just blew everyone away, and I can understand why, playing it for the Orange Box. Yeah, definitely one of. If you haven't got this, I strongly urge you do so, because you will not find better value for money than the Orange Box. Okay, that is pretty much it for my Xbox 360 collection. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you again for another collection video.